Hello and welcome back to your mat. For today's class, you may need either a block or two, a chair. We're going to be working with a peak pose that may require, if you're not able to sink to as deeply, you might need like a chair, a step stool, coffee table, something you can sit back onto. So just have something nearby to try if you need to. So we're going to start out in bound angle pose. Bring your feet together. And if your knees are way up here, that's okay. You can leave them up here. Or if you find that it's okay to open up a little bit more and have them come further down, that's fine. So today's theme is Ahimsa, which is Sanskrit for, it translates to non-violence or non-harming. So I want you to think about throughout today's class, how can you be less violent toward yourself and less harming toward yourself? So being gentle, having compassion and kindness for yourself. So again, if that means your knees are up here, you could take those blocks and put those underneath if you'd like to. This is going to be an act of kindness toward yourself versus trying to force your knees down. So we're not trying to hurt ourselves here. We're trying to practice yoga with the body that we have. So if your knees are way up, stay upright. If they're a bit further down on the ground, inhale and go ahead and tip forward for just a little bit. Don't go too far forward. Again, practicing that kindness toward yourself. And inhale here, and then an exhale. Another inhale. And then exhale and come all the way back up. And go ahead and leave your right foot where it's at and stretch that left leg out on your mat off to the side. And inhale here and get tall. You can stay more upright, whatever's going to be best for your body today. Or you can exhale and come forward any amount. We're just opening up the groin area here. We're going to open up our hips today. We're working up toward a peak pose. And throughout all of these poses, again, we need to practice the act of kindness and compassion toward our body. Inhale, come up. Go ahead and bring that left foot back to meet your right, and then go ahead and bring your right foot out, right leg out, and leave your left leg exactly where it is. Inhale and get tall, and then go ahead and exhale and fold forward any amount or stay more upright. Choose what feels great for your body today. Both are going to give you a stretch. Inhale here, and then exhale and come back up. And now, go ahead and stretch the other leg back out. So you have both of your legs open. So you've got a nice wide-seated seat here. Sit up tall, and your feet can be closer together. So they don't have to be all the way out. Pick what works for you. Inhale, get tall, stay upright if you'd like, or exhale, hinging from your hips. Come on forward any amount. You can have your hands on the ground. And again, this is opening everything up to help with our peak pose. So we're going to build up to a peak pose today with kindness and compassion for the body that we have today. That's the key I want you to remember throughout today's class. Inhale and come all the way up. And now go ahead and bring your legs together. We're going to stand up at the top of our mat into mountain pose. So go ahead and come to the top of your mat. Let your feet root down into the mat. Really feel yourself grounding down. Stand tall here for just a moment. Take that in. And then go ahead and step that left leg back into warrior one. So warrior one, our hips are going to be squared toward the front of our mat. And this back foot is about at a 45-degree angle or so. And then if you feel like it, go ahead and inhale and bring those arms up overhead. Breathing in here for a moment. And exhaling. Inhale. And then exhale, we're going to open up into warrior two. So you have to adjust your stance here. Go ahead and make this a little bit wider. And now your heel should intersect with your back arch. Or close to it. And now your hips are going to be turned toward the side of your mat. Bring your arms up if you like, out to the sides, and glance over that right hand. Inhaling here. Sink a little deeper into that front knee. Nice exhale there. Inhale. And then come up on the exhale and go ahead and turn both of your feet out about 45 degrees. And here, go with what works for you. So you can stay more upright if you like, but go ahead and bend both of your knees out over your toes and sink back a little bit. So this is what it's called, some people call it temple pose or goddess pose. So again, we're really going to help open up the hips and the inner groins here. So you can stay more upright, or you can sink down as far as what feels best for you. Staying upright in your torso the best you can. Breathing here, you can rock back a little bit. That kind of helps open things up. Exhale there, and go ahead and stand all the way up. And now we're going to go to the other side. So go ahead and just transition over so that your left leg is now forward for warrior one, and your right leg is back at a 45-degree angle, and your hips are facing the front of the side of your mat, the front of your mat, excuse me. You can leave your arms down or inhale and bring them up. Stay here for a moment in warrior one, facing the opposite direction on your mat. Left leg is forward. Nice bend there. Exhale. A nice inhale. And then exhale and open up into your warrior two. So again, you're going to have to adjust your stance. Make it a little wider. Left foot is forward and deeply bent. And that left heel is going to intersect the back arch of your right leg. Bring those arms up overhead. Again, your hips are going to be facing the side of your mat now. Get a nice inhale here. And exhale. Another inhale. Exhale. Go ahead and straighten your legs. And now we're going to come back into that goddess or temple pose. So go ahead and turn both of your feet out about 45-degree angle and sink down a little bit. You might be able to sink a little deeper this time because you're a little bit more open. Now this is a shorter class, so we're not going to be able to get really deep and open in here, but you get the idea. And then inhale and come back up. And now we're going to just go back to the other side. We're going to do one round each on each side, one more round each. So go ahead and come back into your warrior one. So adjust your stance. Now you're facing the front of your mat. Your right leg is deeply bent, and your left leg is out to 45-degree angle. Hips are square. Inhale and rise your arms up. And then inhale one more. Exhale and open up into warrior two. So adjust that stance. And now open yourself into your warrior two. Right leg is still forward. Arms are out overhead. Inhale, and now go ahead and bring both of your feet. Legs are straight for a moment. Feet are 45-degree angle, and sink into your goddess pose. Again, you can stay more upright. Inhale and come back up. And when we're on the other side, go to the left now. So bring your left foot forward, deeply bent. Your right leg is back at a 45-degree angle. Hips are square to the front of your mat. And inhale up into warrior one. Exhale. Another inhale. And then exhale, open up into that warrior two on the left side. So your left foot is forward. Adjust your stance. Bring your arms out in front of you and look over that left arm or left hand. And then go ahead and straighten your legs. Bring your feet to 45. And you know what to do now. Sink down into that temple pose for just a moment. Temple or goddess. Called a couple different things. Also could call it maybe football squat. And then inhale and come all the way up. Heel toe your feet together. And now we're going to stand at the top of our mat. Now, this is our peak pose. So we're going to come into Yogic Squat is what it's called. It's also called garland pose or malasana. Don't need to know all the different names. You just need to know we're going to be doing a squat. So this is where blocks could come in handy. You can stack them up if you need to. A rolled up blanket could help. If you find your heels are off the ground, you'll see in a moment. Or even a chair. You don't have to come all the way down. So for me, I find that having my feet wider and turned out slightly makes this pose more accessible to me. Some others like their feet to be straight and parallel and closer together. So you're going to have to play around with this and see what works for you. So I'm going to turn to the side here. And again, I have my feet, mine are wider than hip distance and slightly turned out. And I'll have the blocks here close so you can see what's going to happen here. So you're going to inhale. And actually, I should point out before I do that, if you have any trouble with your knees, then you are going to come down onto your back and bring both your knees into your chest for this pose. If you have any knee issues, I don't want you on your knees. So you can just stay in this pose, and this is going to give you a very similar idea. So go ahead and bring in your knees on your back. You'll get the same idea without the pressure in your knees. For those of you that find your knees are okay for this, we're going to come into the our version of the pose that we can do. Again, practicing the body you have today, non-violence, non-harming toward yourself. So from here, you're going to go ahead and sink back like in a chair. And this is a great place to be. If you find this is enough for you, you could do this. Or you could be sitting actually in a chair. For those that feel like they have a little bit more, you can go ahead and sink back a little bit more. Continue to come down, and you can plop down on those blocks. This is a great modification for this pose. And you can bring your elbows to your knees and kind of help open up a little bit, because that's going to help open all this up. And it also is great for helping stimulate healthy digestion. So there's a host of benefits. And if you feel like it, you can come a little bit further down. You can always remove a block and come a little further down. And for some, you may find that your heels are up, and that's okay too. So you could put a rolled up blanket here, and you could be in this version of the pose. Or, if you're really open, you can sink back into the full version of the pose. And again, for me, I have my feet turned out, because I've been practicing for years, and I still can't have them close together and straight. That's the way my body is, so I've learned to just deal with that and have kindness toward myself. So find what works for you, blocks, and stay in this pose for just a moment or two. It's a really good opener for the hips, groins. It's just a great pose all around. And be okay with where you are. Over time, you open your body up more and more, and you'll be able to do this pose with ease. And then go ahead and stand up and do a nice forward fold with a nice wide-legged standing forward fold here. So go ahead and have your feet hip distance or further apart, and just really let it go for a minute. Congratulate yourself for trying that pose. Again, as long as you don't have knee pain. So go ahead and lie on your back. And for those that are on your back, you'll be happy that we're coming down to meet you. And from here, we're just going to do a quick bridge pose before we finish out the class. So we're going to inhale. You've got your soles of your feet on the ground. Knees are pointed up toward the sky. Inhale and rise those hips up. Snuggle the shoulders underneath of you, best you can. And come back down. And I'm going to come up. I want you to go ahead and do another round of bridge. So go ahead and do another round of bridge. When you're ready, go ahead and rise up. Bring your hips up. Keeping your knees pointed up toward the sky. And exhale and come back down slowly. And then, for those of you that have the time, and I would suggest everyone take at least half a minute or so or longer, go ahead and stretch out on your mat into a nice Shavasana. So go ahead and stretch out your legs on the mat, your arms out to the side. Just let everything go into the mat. And I will leave you with a closing quote from Gandhi. Ahimsa, translated as nonviolence, non-harming, is the highest duty. Even if we cannot practice it in full, we must try to understand its spirit and refrain as far as is humanly possible from violence. So I leave you with that thought, to not only have kindness and compassion for yourself, but now take that concept off the mat as you go into your day and have kindness and compassion for those around you and everything in our beautiful planet that we have at our disposal. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.